Thank you everyone for joining Unicorn Riot again this morning. We are live here downtown Chicago, right in front of William Jones College Preparatory High School, where you see teachers are right now picketing. They're picketing all over the city still. The strike is still on day 12, 8th day out of classes. So right now we're actually following a march that just met right over here. It's a student-led march, and I've counted over a couple hundred students that just marched past us already. They're scheduled to march to City Hall at 10. It's a little before 10. They're ahead of schedule. Not common for a protest march, but here we go. So we're going to follow them. We're going to Chicago City Hall. You can hear the noise behind us. That is cars honking, people cheering for the CTU members and teachers that are on strike from William Jones College Preparatory School here. If you were joining us this morning, we were on the northwest side of Chicago at Locke Elementary School, where the CTU president gave a speech, press release, basically saying the CTU is standing firm. No deal was reached over the weekend. A lot of details there. You can check out our post we have about it that's live now. Just put that out this morning. Hopefully, Jen, they're producing our live show. If they could put that link in the comments or in the description if it's not there already, you can check out a little bit of what's been going on over the weekend, and we have links in there to give you more information, and we'll update you as it goes. Again, we are following a student-led march in solidarity with their teachers and with the CTU union members. Students met just about a block away, and we are marching to City Hall. In their release, they said they're going to march to City Hall and then do a silent sit-in. I don't know if they're planning on going inside the building or if they're going to do that outside the building, but we will find out. And again, we are Unicorn Riot. Thanks for tuning in. John Z, your host today. We got Lorenzo operating the camera. Jen is producing the show for us in the back end, and then other Unicorn Riot members helping out along the way, and that's how we do things, and we do it with your support. Thank you very much for everyone who's helped us get here and help us do these things, like come out to Chicago and cover this for you. We are holding a fundraiser right now. If you want to become a monthly contributor, just a $5 level or more, we're going to send you some free gifts. It's great. Those links are in our descriptions as well. So this is a very large march. Like I estimated around 200 to 300 that passed me, and I was trying to underestimate. So it's very large, mostly made up of students. There are some allies in here with them as well.
We're marching behind the students of the city today. When I say student, you say power, student. Power, student. Power. When I say teacher, you say power, teacher. Power, teacher. Power. When I say student, you say power, student. Power, student. When I say people, you say power, people. People. Make some noise if you love your students for the school.
So again, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you're just tuning into our coverage here in Chicago, we landed here Saturday, where we live streamed a solidarity rally at Union Park, where a few hundred CTU members attended, and it was just kind of a joyful speaking event. They were trying to take a break from the picket lines, hoping that things would get solved over the weekend. They did not. But as we've heard from the CTU president today and other CTU members, they're holding firm. They learned lessons from the 2012 strike. They don't want to leave these little important bits that are important to the students on the table again. So they're holding firm. The city seems to be holding firm, saying they don't have the money time and time again. they're chanting, what do we want? Fair contract now. If we don't get it, shut it down. And just to inform some of you at home, if you're not aware, another thing going on today, Trump is scheduled to be in town for a fundraiser, and I know there are some people angry about it, I hear, might show up. In the CTU email that they released late last night, they said, and after the picket lines and after this action, nothing else is planned in the afternoon, and if people wanted to do things, quote-unquote, productive on their own, they can. And then they mentioned, by the way, Trump is in town. If people showed up there, that might be productive. So they weren't directly telling people to go there, but they kind of hinted that as an option for the afternoon. That being said, if there are any protests for Trump coming in his fundraiser, or if CTU members or strikers bring their picket to one of those protests or create their own, we will try to bring that coverage to you today.
Education is under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. Special education is under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. Public education is under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. Glory Lightfoot, get on the right foot. 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 What do we want? Fair contract. What do we want it? Now. What do we want? Fair contract. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. Everybody make some noise.
So this is a very large march of students and allies marching to City Hall right now. We're getting in the front of the march now. We're going to try to show you more of a perspective here, but hundreds of them have met at 9:30, now marching to City Hall a little earlier than they said they were going to. But even as we left with the march, there were still more students lining up at the meeting place, so there might be more coming from behind as well. So again, their plan is to march to City Hall and then hold a silent protest,
We need teachers. We
silent
need
sit-in.
We need the money that Rory took.
Again, I don't know if they're planning on doing that inside City Hall or not.
We need teachers. We need books. We need the money that Rory took. We need teachers. We need books. We need the money that
So the sign
Rory
the
took.
students holding says 40-minute sit-in is what they're planning. 1 minute for every student in a crowded classroom. So the sign implying that there's, the high class size has been a major contentious issue that's still not solved with the CPU's latest proposal on the table. So the sign, average about 40 students, high 30s is what I hear. So they plan on having a sit-in 1 minute for representing every student in those oversized, overcrowded classes. Something I did hear that did get updated over the weekend in negotiations, the city has addressed class sizes slightly, but with only enough funding to adequately cover about 1/3 of Chicago public schools, which is not enough. Again, learning the lessons from 2012, the teachers in the union don't want to leave crumbs on the table, and they feel if they let just a little piece slip by, what do they have to wait 8 years until another strike to get the adequate class sizes? And again, that's a major sticking point. Another development over the weekend negotiations. The CPU has suggested that in their latest proposal, the average teacher salary is going to be 100K or more. What we heard this morning at the press conference from the CTU president is that that's not even close to the accurate figure, and no one knows where they're getting this 100,000 figure. I was talking to a teacher in an interview, wondering are they factoring in benefits, and even it's confusing to them. But they're factoring in pension, future pension, into that number is what I'm assuming from talking to the teacher to come up with that 100,000 figure. Because even at the Locke Elementary where we're at, there's many veteran teachers, some of the highest paid represented teachers in the city, and none of them are making close to 100K. And even with this contract, they would not be making 100K, even with taxes taken out and take-home pay. You know, when the rest of us have a job, they don't include our future pension and how much our hourly wage is or our salary is. That's not going to help them with the high living costs here in Chicago, which is another problem that they have brought up. Just like stay stationary.
How far are we from?
So I just did an estimate, a little over 300 students and allies from my estimate in this march. Again, this is a student solidarity march. And they're talking about the large class sizes, which obviously affects them just as much as the teachers, students trying to learn. So they're talking about 40 is too much, meaning 40 is like an average class size. It's way too much for one person to handle. And so they're planning on doing a silent sit-in for 40 minutes, they say. 1 minute representing every student in those oversized classes. want to say anything on our live camera about?
You know who would be amazing? My husband is so much better at this than me.
Well, you don't have to say any. Just one thing of like why you care, what you care about, what's important to you out here. Why are you here? Just simply like
Can I have my kids say something?
Of course, of course.
I don't wanna. It's the students.
Yeah, no,
thing.
please,
So
please.
I'll go grab it.
Yeah. Let's walk and talk. Tell us why you're out. What school are y'all from?
I go to Lane Tech. My sister goes to.
I go to Coonley Elementary.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and our friend Francis goes to Jones.
Oh, Joe, is that the one we were just at?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us why you're out here today.
Well, we're sick and tired of our schools being starved by downstate, by people like Mike Madigan and John Cullerton, and by the corruption of our city and our state.
Tell me a little personal experience. Like, I hear a lot of talk about class sizes. What are your personal experiences with that?
Well, it's hard to learn in such a big class size because there's also so many people who are at different learning skills. So it's really hard when we have one teacher in one class with 30 kids.
And on top of that, me, my sister, and my friend, we're lucky. We do go to schools that have more resources than other schools, and unfortunately in CPS all schools aren't equally funded. So we, for me and with my other Lane friends, we're on strike to get better conditions at Lane, but more than that, we're on strike to get better conditions for schools citywide.
And so you're not just out here for yourself, you're out here for other students.
Yes.
Maybe not as privileged as yourself.
Yes.
Excellent. Any personal stories about teachers that you want to share, or good stories about Chicago Public Schools that you want to share?
Yeah, me and my family, we've been going out. I've seen 3 strikes if you include the walkout in 2016, and always through that, my teachers have been so supportive of us. They've really, welcomed us in, and they've really embraced us being out there. And
explain that a little more. What do you mean they welcomed you in?
Well, with strikes, they've always been so happy to see the students outside standing with them. They've always been happy that the students have been able to stand with them outside of their schools to really show support. So that's always translated back into the classroom after, where they're kind, they're nurturing, and they really do teach you. They teach you more than what they are being given in return.
Excellent.
And definitely I think strike teaches us a lot, especially because, our teachers have taught us so much, and they fought for us so much, and I think it's time for us to fight for them too.
Excellent words. Did you want to add anything? Okay, thank you so much. We'll see you at City Hall. Support from people in the office building here. Again, thanks for joining us, Unicorn right here, everyone. John Z, your host today. Lorenzo is on the camera, and Jen is producing it, the live stream for us at home. Thank you so much. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. UR_ninja. To stay up to date, you're going to see things on Twitter you might not see in the live feed. And our live feed is being multicast on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and live stream for your convenience. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing our information. Make sure you follow us and share in the future. Thanks. A lot of people inside these shops and in these buildings. You see them raising fists in solidarity with the kids marching here. Again, this is, if you're just tuning in, this is a student-led march to City Hall in support of their CTU teachers on strike. All right, we are approaching City Hall now. So this is some teachers already here picketing in front of City Hall, and the student-led march is now meeting up with them. Hundreds of CTU teachers here already in front of City Hall. Really excited to see the students here marching in their support. Good. Let's hear what you got to say. What are you doing out here?
We're here to support the teachers with CTU so we can get back into school, get fair contracts, and get nurses and everything that the school needs.
And what school do you go to right now?
I go to Whitney M. Young Magnet High School.
And that's part of the CPS district?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. So what's your personal experience with like the class size issue?
The class sizes are really big. There are often classes that you have to take chairs from other rooms to accommodate everyone in there, and then it's not a very good learning environment because everyone learns at different paces, so then you can't really have the same attention from the teacher with so many students.
Right. I mean, has this affected like either you or somebody you know is like...
Well, yeah, because at our school, everyone is sort of clumped together.
Okay.
So then people with, like me, I know I have to see to learn, and sometimes people just explain it more for other people. So with all the different learning styles, it's hard to learn that much.
So, what made you want to come out here to support the teachers?
We've been gone from school for a good amount of time, and the teachers have been out here almost every day of the week. And I just thought that, this doesn't only affect teachers, it affects us too. So I should support because I'm a part of this.
So what do you think when the city and the mayor are saying, hey, there's no more money, we've already offered you everything that you need, but the teachers say no, you haven't offered us anything. What do you... Oh, don't want to interrupt your sit down, my friend. Yeah.
Get us out.
Oh,
sit down.
we're trapped.
We're still in the
I guess we can,
Let's get all the students' picture.
Yeah.
Hey, pardon me. We're going to try and get out of here.
We don't want to be in your picture, I'm sorry. Sorry, everyone. Thank you. Oh, pardon me. So again, here at City Hall, the student-led march with what I estimate over 300 students, possibly even more. Now at City Hall, doing their sit-in that they planned. They're now sitting down. They're planning to do a silent sit-in for 40 minutes. It's not silent yet because they're organizing. So once that starts, as far as they said, they were going to do a 40-minute sit-in. Walk around.
We're trying to make a walk. Follow them as they sit down.
Yeah, so we're just noticing they're actually trying to make a single file line around City Hall. We're going to follow some of the students here as they find their positions.
Don't touch the wall!
Don't touch the wall.
Don't touch the Monsters? Yeah!
Draw them with those markers and this
But it's fine. It's okay. It's almost gotta be there. Okay. Woo! Woo! Baby. All right.
Don't touch the wall.
I love you. Also
So the silent sit-in line looks like they're deciding to skip the doors, so they're not doing a blockade of City Hall. Just a ring around the outside of the building in a silent protest, it appears. I heard some students reminding each other, stay away from the wall. I can only assume that's something they've been directed when they were training for this, to try to not give police a reason to clear them out. Because right now they're just sitting on a public sidewalk. Not blocking doors, not blocking pedestrian traffic.
thank you for coming out, everybody.
So again, we want to Thank new viewers for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, we are in downtown Chicago right now, right in front of City Hall. We were a few blocks away where we met a student-led march. They gathered in front of a picketing high school over there and marched a couple blocks here to City Hall. I estimate at least over 300 students in this particular march, and they're here in support for their striking teachers. And right now the students are making a sit-in ring around the building, not blocking entrances, but they plan on holding this for 40 minutes, 1 minute representing every student in an overcrowded classroom. And from the couple of students I did speak to, that they have felt the effects of these overcrowded classrooms, many of them pointing out that, even they're aware human beings, we all learn in different ways and at different levels. I found out from a student, or from a teacher this morning, that many kids, because it's not state law to have pre-education, are coming into first grade with no prior education. So they have these overcrowded classrooms of first graders with many of them on different levels, so some need more personal attention. And how can one teacher possibly do that? And some of the students leaving messages for City Hall in chalk. Messages to Lori Lightfoot and to the city. Some of them say, fund our schools. We need smaller classes. Fix the broken system, one says.
Terrific. I'm praying for you. I'm really praying for real, okay? Hang in there.
Well, the kids are supposedly doing a silent sit-in for 40 minutes. I'm a little hesitant to get more interviews at the moment, but let's do some more walking around and see if we see more chalking. Lori Lightfoot, get on the right foot, written in chalk with a little chalk caricature of Lori Lightfoot. Students make change. So again, there are still SEIU members here in solidarity. I'm seeing over the weekend, SEIU, the workers of SEIU Local 73 who work within CPS schools as support staff made a tentative agreement, I should say, with their bargaining. However, the president of that union did say that they will not be going, obviously, in the schools. They will be remaining on the picket lines and in support of the CTU and teachers until they get their settlement. And again, with the SEIU, it was a tentative agreement. Their union would still have to ratify that. Same thing goes, once there is any settlement, the delegates of the CTU still have to vote to stop the strike. So keep that in mind. Even if they reach an agreement later today, they would still have to arrange a vote tomorrow. So hundreds of students here from around Chicago schools trying to form a ring around City Hall in a silent protest. They're not blocking the doors. They're not up against the walls. They're not blocking pedestrian traffic. Just here to make their voices heard and their presence known. Probably hard to get interviews during a silent protest, right? Or can anybody talk? Or
ask the students. We're here for
right, right. That's for that's right. Does anybody have anything to say? Any students? Not even like a good story about one of your teachers that's your favorite teacher and why you're out here.
My mom's my favorite teacher.
Your mom's your favorite teacher?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain?
I grew up in the schools, these people raised me and they work really hard for what they do and they don't deserve this. Oh my god.
It's making you emotional that you really care about this. Now you said your mom's your teacher. Is this your mother? Or is she actually is she a teacher in the CPS system? How long has your mom been a teacher?
20 years.
20 years. And how old are you?
I'm 14.
So she's been a teacher longer than you've been alive. So you've grown up seeing what it's like to be a teacher, so you probably know firsthand some of the struggles your mom has dealt with. How has it been over the last few years?
She works so hard and she's always thinking about her kids and everything. If we grew out of clothes, she'd bring it to her children or her students that don't have as much as she does, and she's always working and she really cares about her kids. She loves them like her own. And our teachers work really hard for us, and we don't really think about it until I got to see how when I go to school I don't think about how hard my teachers work, but then when I come home and see what both my parents are doing, I understand how hard their jobs are, and they deserve so much more than this.
Oh, you're getting me emotional. Oh my goodness, I don't have a good follow-up question to that. That's a really good story. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I think anyone's going to top that.
Yeah, no.
Thanks, Rose.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rose.
We have about
Yeah, I don't know what I have nothing to say now. I don't know. That was amazing. Thank you.
That was 10 more minutes of being silent. We still haven't seen around the corner, so of being silent.
So Lorenzo, who's operating the camera and the live stream for us here today, just fortunately paying attention to the watch more than I am. There's about 10 more minutes of the silent protest going on, so we're going to check the scene a little bit more now. And we're assuming after the silent protest there's going to be more chanting. We don't know what's going to happen there, so stay tuned to Unicorn Riot. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at @UR_ninja for more updates you may not see on the live feed or on Facebook. And always feel free to like and share our posts. It definitely helps spread our message out there. We appreciate it. That's how we're able to do what we're doing with your support. So it looks like we're at the end of this line. So it seems like the chain goes about halfway around City Hall. Definitely a few hundred students and allies here doing a silent sit-in protest scheduled for 40 minutes, 1 minute representing every student in one of these overcrowded classrooms. And we're just a few minutes left. Actually, maybe a little more than that.
Teachers are heroes. Good teachers are.
A woman just walked by, told them teachers are heroes. All right, we're gonna walk back this way again. So if y'all missed it this morning, we were live at Locke Elementary School on the northwest side of Chicago, where the CTU, Chicago Teachers Union president, gave a press conference basically updating the press and everyone that no negotiation, no contract was reached, no settlement was reached over the weekend. Both sides saying different things. CTU saying there's only about a $38 million gap left in what's being negotiated, and that's less than 0.5% of the CPS annual operating budget. And that $38 million, what they're talking about, it's not about teacher salaries or anything like this. It's about things like what we're hearing a lot today, the class size, protections for veteran teachers. Some teachers working over 15, 20 years get capped at their pay raise.
That's right.
Making sure they have nurses, social workers, librarians in every school. The city has caved a little bit on those things. They offered nurses in every school in 5 years, but still not social worker in every school with a timeline, and definitely not librarians and other support staff that the CTU is looking for. And it's a lot of things that were left on the table from the 2012 strike, and things that have been plaguing the CPS system for decades. And so that's why, from what we're hearing, the CTU is really holding firm. They know this is their chance to get these things, and the special education needs is another thing in that $38 million from the CTU, from their estimation. Special education needs that there's been loopholes in for a really long time. It's been a huge problem in the city. In fact, the special education part of the CPS has been under state monitor for quite a while, just for this reason. And so they're trying to fix it through these negotiations, which, it's fair to the teachers, it's fair to the students. But to counter that, CTU saying there's that $38 million gap that's still left on the table to fix those things. CPS says all the things that the CTU still wants, it's $100 million, and they just don't have that money. And Lori Lightfoot last night at a press conference said that the CTU doesn't know how to take yes for an answer, basically implying, hey, we're saying yes to everything, just take this negotiation. The CTU is saying, no, you're not saying yes to everything. The CPS said that they have addressed the class size issue. However, the funding they allocated for it would only fix 1/3 of the Chicago school system. So the students and the teachers, they want it fixed for everyone fairly. We heard from one of the students in the march earlier who acknowledged that he's from a more privileged family and from a more privileged school. And so he realizes that the discrepancies in other students in his city, he's fighting for that too. He wants everybody have the same fighting chance, and so do the teachers. And that's why the CTU is still holding out. It's not about salary. That being said, the city has claimed that with this new negotiation on the table, a teacher's salary is going to be over $100,000 a year. From what we heard from the CTU president this morning and other teachers, that's just not the case. And even with this new agreement, that wouldn't put them close. The city factors in their pensions and other benefits within that $100,000 cost. So that's not their actual take-home pay after, and then with taxes removed. That's the city inflating those figures. That is what the CTU president has said, and some of the other teachers. So I want to take this moment right here to thank all of our viewers and supporters out there who have been able to help us out financially in the past and now in growing this organization, this nonprofit organization. We are commercial free, we're ad free, we have no paywalls, we want to keep this information free. We have Creative Commons license, anybody can use it as long as you don't try to make money off of it, and all that's possible. And we're able to come to Chicago and have this teacher strike and other important issues that are important to you, and we're only able to do it with your monetary support. So if you are able to, we're doing a fundraiser right now, little as $5 a month. We're going to send you some cool Unicorn Riot stickers, magnets, and thank you card. Just as a thank you for signing up. If you can give more, that would be amazing. But even just at $5, we can get a lot more people to do that in the next couple months. It's going to help us out to keep growing and keep covering these things into the next year, into 2020, and make sure we're covering the important things that are important to you. So to help us out, if you want to, like our Facebook info or Facebook description, YouTube description, within the Twitter thread, you'll see a link. Help us keep growing in 2020. Click on that. It's going to take you to our website page, show you how to donate to us, or just go to unicornriot.ninja, and there'll be a banner towards the top that says help us keep growing into 2020. Click on that. It'll take you to the same thing. So, do you want to say anything about? Yeah, sorry, are you talking to him down there? I don't know. Either way, I just wanted.
It's just decent, ordinary people saying enough to corporate values, enough to the decimation of everything that is of true value in this country. The corporatocracy is destroying this country. Look at it. We've got an international crime syndicate in the White House. This is what we have. This is what we get. And we're standing by while he flies in and has his steak dinner, and these kids are out on the street because we don't have real values in this country anymore. It's the dollar that matters. That's all that matters. These kids are out here because this is the world that we live in. We've got to take a stand. Otherwise, it's game over for democracy. Look what's happening all around us. The world is literally on fire, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up.
Thank you for speaking to us, sir.
Excuse me. Hello?
Just to update, this is officially the 12th day of this strike. The 8th day that kids have actually missed classes, which makes it longer than the 2012 strike officially now. Not the longest one on record in Chicago, but longer than the 2012. Alright, so the sit-in the silent sit-in part appears to be coming to an end. Students now instructed to stand up. All right, so students standing up and making noise once again.
marching around back this way to the start of it.
Right, so we have teachers over here on this side of the building.
We're going to head that way and wrap around the building. I'm not sure if nobody knows. All right, we do not know. Hey, come on,
I can hear something too.
students that were holding the silent sit-in and the teachers with them now are all marching around City Hall. Picket line march around City Hall.
divided.
So just to let new viewers know, we are in Chicago, Illinois. Trump actually will be in town later today for a fundraising event. We're hearing some people aren't so happy about that fact that he's coming here. Hopefully, if there are any actions that we can cover, we plan on being there. There may even be some crossover actions with the CTU strike and protests against Trump. So that will be later on today. Stay tuned to Unicorn Riot for updates on that. You can follow us on Twitter at UR_ninja. That's at UR_ninja on Twitter.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
So we are here at City Hall, downtown Chicago, Illinois, where the Chicago Teachers Union has been on strike for the 12th day now. This is the 8th day. Kids have missed class, making it longer now officially than the 2012 strike. Both sides, both the Chicago Public Schools and the Chicago Teachers Union, entered the weekend. And even throughout the weekend, both tones were a little muted. They weren't attacking each other as much online and in the press. Both even kind of hinting that they were maybe close to a deal. And then Sunday night, they kind of seemed to all fall apart. Lori Lightfoot ended up and the CEO of Chicago Public Schools, who that was her first time at the bargaining table, both left about 8, 9 o'clock to do their own press conference, basically talking smack about the CTU negotiations. Lori Lightfoot even saying the CTU doesn't know how to accept yes for an answer, implying that they've said yes to all their demands. CTU doesn't see it that way. There's still a few very crucial, from what they say, points on the table that need to be covered in writing. What they say, it's class sizes, protections for veteran teachers, making sure there's adequate support staff in every school, not just 1/3 of the schools that CTU has proposed with the money they put forth in the last proposal. A lot of these issues, special education needs need to be severely addressed, and that's a large portion of that money as well. All of these things were tried to be addressed in the 2012 strike, and they don't want to leave them back on the table again unsolved. And that's why, from what we're hearing, the CTU is holding firm, as they said this morning. One thing we definitely did notice last night and this morning is at Lori Lightfoot's actual house, there usually is about 4 squad cars on the block. That's common protection for a mayor. That's how much is usually there. from last night and even this morning, there were dozens and dozens of police officers in front of her house. We saw her motorcade leave this morning. There still were a dozen or more cops just out of their cars, not including the cops in their cars, on Lori Lightfoot's block. And that, again, that is not normal police protection, especially when the mayor has already left. So I just thought I'd point that out. I don't know if they thought after last night's press conference they wanted to add a little more protection to her house, thought people might be a little angry, obviously rightfully so, but
everybody.
Part of the qualifying thing for second ring
starting to enter the building now. Just warning, guys, if we do go in the building, we may lose signal here and there, make it a little choppy. I know City Hall is notorious for having horrible signal, but we're going to try to bring it to you live. We're going to do our best.
Have some fun.
police now radioing. The students are inside. there's about 6 police officers behind us here. I heard one of them ask, hey, are we going to do anything? And the other cop just shrugged. I don't know. So it doesn't appear that at the moment they're planning on doing anything. They might just let the students do this. However, more officers definitely have converged on the scene. actually have bike cops here inside City Hall now. So there is now a wall of bike cops behind me that was not there just a minute ago. They have formed an actual perimeter. again, folks, Unicorn Riot here. We are in Chicago, Illinois. We just came out of City Hall, as you saw here. Hundreds and hundreds of students. I estimated over 300 earlier in the march to City Hall. With some teachers as well. The students just went inside City Hall. They held space for about 15, 20 minutes, chanted loudly. Police really didn't know what to do, so they just formed a barricade, because that's what happens. They were blocking them from going out the other exit, I guess. I don't know. But they held space for 15, 20 minutes, and then they left. And right before that, they did a 40-minute silent sit-in where they made a line around City Hall. And the 40 minutes was supposed to represent 1 minute for every student in one of the oversized classrooms. That's a big contentious issue here.
It usually is.
Excuse us.
My name is Sarah. I want to thank everybody who's coming out once today and supporting not only your teachers but us as well, supporting the students and standing up for what it is that we deserve. What we are demanding is more than a want. It is a need and a necessity that should not have ever had to have been demanded. The CTU's demands are our expectations, and we want to tell Lori Lightfoot to get on the right foot.
I just want to say, we started with a flyer. We only had a flyer and we posted on Snapchat, and all of you came out. All of you came out. We want to again thank you for coming out, because we didn't think a lot of people would come, and for all these students, teachers, and parents. So yeah, thanks for coming out. You're up and go. Please support your teachers. Let's support our teachers to get what we need, not what we want. All right, you all dismissed.
I do believe that we will win.
We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. If you guys don't have anywhere to go after this, there is a rally outside the Trump Tower right now.
We're live, so we got time. All right, so you're the organizers, or some of the organizers? All right, what inspired you to organize?
So we had been out here with the teachers, striking with them and on the ground, and it seemed like nothing was getting done. And a few students would come out for the strike, but we know that the students here were getting frustrated because we'd rather be at school learning with our teachers. So we decided that we wanted to do it with the students are actually out here. The teachers will see that they were actually out here supporting them and wanting them to get what we needed to help our schools and them.
There's a lot of energy energy here. It's hard. Wow, this is great. And what do you have to say about that?
About what?
Okay, sorry. What helped inspire you to want to do this, to organize this?
So I feel like I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be here without my teachers. And so seeing that their voices weren't being heard, that it was days and days that no contract with no deal was reached, I got mad and I was like, we need to do something because maybe they'll listen to us as the students. And so we just started our little group and we just started making posters and we didn't think this many people were gonna come out. So
You said you made posters. How did you distribute them or put them up?
We made a flyer, and then it was like 10 of us sharing it on social media. And we had no idea that all these kids, all these parents, all these teachers would come out and support us. Like it was only 10 of us, and it was an idea. And for it to get this big, to get this much energy and this much support, is just amazing to us. We're still shocked. We're still shocked that this literally just happened.
And
please.
I want to say that our teachers are not our enemies, and I know that the media is portraying them to be that, but they're not. They're fighting for us, for the quality education that we deserve, and we need to support them no matter how long it takes. I know it's been a long time, and we want to go to school, but we will stand by our teachers and support them the same way they've supported us.
One issue I hear a lot that's still on the table right now is the class sizes. Have either of you had experience, or tell me your experiences with more big class sizes, how that affects you and other students?
I mean, for sometimes when a class is overbooked at Lindblom, that means that you won't be able to take the class. And it'd be like prerequisites for like college. Like in college, you have to take calculus. And if you can't fit into a class that's supposed to be less than 30 kids and there's 35 plus, that means you just don't take the class. And I think that's ridiculous. If Lori still doesn't realize how important it is to reduce the class, no, then she doesn't understand how an education works and what it's like to be a student inside a CPS school.
And it's a problem on both sides because one, it's hard for a teacher to teach 40 students. It's hard. You're not going to get one-on-one time with your students. And for a student, it's hard to learn. You don't get as much time to ask questions as if there was 25 students in that class. It's also not only that, but what about kids with anxiety when you have to go up to present and there's 40 kids in your class? We don't think about issues like those. And we should be thinking about viewing it a different type of way.
What about the nurses issue? Have either of you experienced? Tell me about that. I've heard weird stories where there's a nurse that shows up once a week, or at some schools.
So a nurse is there for 2 hours a day, and she's literally there. That's it. We rarely see her, and when she is there, it's either a bunch of kids are in there, or she's not really in her office. I've actually experienced having to go to the nurse, and they don't even have the supplies that a nurse should have. Like if a kid needs an ice pack, they'll tell you no, or go to the lunchroom to get ice. The lunchroom is not a nurse. It's not where you should be going if you get hurt. And that's ridiculous for them to think that if you have a nurse for 2 hours once a month, that's considered having a nurse.
Well, also, if a kid has medical needs where they have to take medication, doesn't the nurse legally has to dispense that, right? You can't just be popping pills in class.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that seems like pretty troubling there. Is there anything else to say? Any personal stories about a teacher you like, or anything?
Miss Icorn, yes.
Wait,
Allison Icorn. Yes. We love her so
What does she teach?
She teaches social studies, but she's also our softball coach, and she's also one of the teachers on the bargaining team. And she got us two together to help plan this, and she got the rest of the students to help plan this. So without her, we probably wouldn't have had this, and we would appreciate her so much.
Yeah, I just feel like Miss Icorn has inspired a lot of us to get out and use our voices. She's part of the bargaining team, so she's been there every day fighting for us, and we want her to know that Lindblom students and all CPS students really appreciate her. We look up to her, and we love her,
So you were saying at the beginning, you thought maybe just a few people would show up. You had no idea this many would show up. Does this maybe inspire you for the future? And if so, how?
I think I want to continue doing this. It was like crazy to see this many. We were expecting the most 20 people, and everybody just came in, and it was a lot. It was emotional to see that many people coming out and supporting us.
We were having to fight back the tears, like when we were seeing people walk into the building at first. We were like, it was only 25 kids walked in at first, and then we get outside, and then we're halfway down the block, and there's still kids walking outside the building. Like, that was crazy to us. That's still crazy to us. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you both talking to me today, and thank you for organizing this.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Appreciate the coverage.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to say? We're live right now. Anybody?
Shout out.
All right. Oh, hold on. I'll get to you.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out because literally, I don't know if they told you, but last week, this is literally just a 6-person idea. It's 6 of us from Lindblom who planned this. We met on Friday last week, and together we just said that it was like, how we want to support our teachers. We said a rally would be the biggest thing. We had a flyer made within like 10 hours, and we had it all over social media, and this was the result. It was from just 6 people. Oh, this is really amazing because I feel like my friend said, the demands that CTU is asking for, they're not wants, they're needs. They're things that we need within Chicago and CPS schools. Because if you look at other districts in the nation, these districts have things that we don't have. And because we're such a large district, it's hard to distribute all these things. But there is a way to do it. We just need City Hall, the people inside this building, to figure out a way to do it. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out.
And you were one of the organizers, you said, in the group.
Yes.
Excellent.
We're one of the
Well, thank you very much. Thanks. We're gonna get some more talking. You said you want come over here. Come over here.
Okay, so I'm from Lindblom, and shout out to Miss Eichhorn because like she's a really she was like almost like the main like motivator like in this protest, and like at our school she like really motivated us to like come out and protest. So a big shout out to her, and I'm really glad that like our generation, like Generation Z, can like come out and like because like it's like a voice, like we are one voice, and having this voice and like showing like City of Chicago and Lightfoot that students can come together and unite like as one is really inspiring. So I'm pretty proud that like our generation, like to support the teachers, like our like students came out and like what teams to support. So I think that's really cool. So I'm really inspired that our generation is like we are the future, and I think it's really cool because like we have the ability to come out and do this. So I'm pretty confident that we could take over the world. Not take over the world, but like we can like if we have a message, we can get it out.
So you're saying this has inspired you to keep the energy up?
Yeah, because this is my first ever protest. I'm not one to protest, but I like wanted to come out because like I see like what the teachers are going through and like what they've been suffering, like by the unfair CTU contract. So I think that coming out today has really inspired me to like take further action and go out to protest because like we do have a voice and like this really moved like a lot of people. So protest, pretty fun, and yeah, they work. So
well, thank you for speaking with us today. Thank you. Step on up.
I just wanted to share something that my teacher had told me about the strike. She said, this will make it seem like Chicago's mayor doesn't care about education and children, but I think it's important to understand that they don't. They always say that we need to be in school, education is important, but if it was, we wouldn't be standing out here. I stand with all my teachers because I know that they're doing this for everyone, for the students, for our education and our future.
Do you have any personal stories you want to share, or a teacher you really like, or what about a story about CPS or anything?
I remember 3 years ago, I was walking to school. I was almost there, a couple hundred feet away, and I slipped on ice walking into the building, and I scraped both my hands right here pretty badly. You know, I ran into the building crying, and they told me I would give you ice, but your hands are cold. And the only thing they could give me was a pair of gloves to wear to class. Even though my hands were scraped, maybe I needed alcohol, a bandage, they gave me a pair of gloves because that's all they had to give me. And for many of my younger years in CPS, I don't remember ever having a nurse, a social worker, not many counselors, maybe 3 for every 1,000 kids or so. Education deserves better funding. Every one of these kids deserves a better future. We all deserve better funding. It's ridiculous how every 1,000 kids only has 1 counselor. In my high school, there's 1,000-something kids. We only have 4 counselors. Each counselor has like 10 classes or more. I stand with everyone that's striking out here today because I know it's for our future.
Excellent. Thank you so much. What do you have to say today? What school are you from?
I'm from Lindblom Math and Science Academy. So I've been out striking with my teachers 4 or 5 times now, actually. And I mean, for me, it's just kind of like I love my teachers to death. They do so much for me. All my teachers are kind of like I call one of my teachers like Mama Hollerback. She's kind of like my school mom. And then I have like my favorite English teachers who like I tell all my business to. Like they're literally like my best friends. And so like for them to not like get the funding that they need, for them not to have the paychecks, and like I know that they all have families, they all have kids, like it's pretty atrocious. And then also for her to say like there's no money, but like we see you building all these new things around the city. Like India Ari said in her song video, it's not what you wear, it's what you know. So if our city look good and we don't know anything, we don't have any education, we don't have any knowledge, it doesn't matter. And so I feel like it's all about what you prioritize, and the fact that a lot of these schools are filled with brown and black kids, I mean, like, it's systemic racism is what it is. Like, it's literally it's trying to uneducate us so that other people can be educated, and I think that's kind of how the hierarchy has always been proven. Like, if you get better SAT scores, if you go to Ivies, or if you do this, that, and the other, you're considered better educationally, and that all starts with funding our schools and teaching us about the stories that we don't teach about and not the whitewashed version of history, and learning about indigenous people and black people and Hispanics and all this other stuff that we just don't learn about. And so, yeah, it's pretty sad, but I always stand with my teachers. I stand, especially with the special education teachers. I'm in Best Buddies myself. I stand with all my buddies.
What is the Best Buddies?
It's where you wait. It's where
we can walk. We can walk and talk.
So Best Buddies is pretty much a program that takes a few kids out of the cluster, out of the special education department, and it pairs them with a general education student, and that's kind of their buddy, their bus buddy.
Okay.
And you do like different arts and crafts activities, and you do different fundraisers. We go on a lot of field trips. And so I personally, Best Buddies has kind of really changed me. It's made me a better person overall. And the fact that they don't have like standards for our wheelchair kids or speech pathologists for like our kids who are able to talk but just can't formulate sentences, like that's also who I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for our Ernestos and our Dannys and our Leslies and our Aarons, and like they're so great. And I wrote my AP Lang letter to the mayor about this, about funding special education kids and their needs, because our city deserves to know about them, and we just don't. And we don't know about our black and brown kids either. And so that's what I'm hoping that this strike is doing, is getting attention to those who don't get attention to them.
I'm an eagle.
Wait, you ready? I'm an eagle? Wait.
Thank you. Great interview. Just getting in her picture here for the class picture. Bringing up some very good points that is all interconnected. The systemic racism in the city that is part of this, that can't even be negotiated on a contract except with dollars and cents.
It's a noble school, no spirit.
I know you think about me.
All right, everyone, we're going to bring this particular stream down in just a couple minutes here. Keep in mind, we may be live later on in the day. There's more things going on. In fact, right now, people are meeting and walking over to Trump Tower to protest the fact he's coming into town today to have a fundraiser. So separate protests separated from the strike. We're already going there, but I'm hearing there are actually some students might be marching there as well, and also some of the strikers might be marching there as well. There also might be other actions later on today, so stay tuned to our feed. We will at least be tweeting and uncovering more stuff here in Chicago. The strike is on its 12th day. There's going to be no classes tomorrow. We haven't heard anything from the negotiating team. The union would still have to get other delegates together and vote to end the strike. So unless they really hit the table hard in the next few minutes, we're probably not going to be no school again tomorrow. That would make the 9th day of no classes, second longest in recent history. We are officially longer than the 2012 strike now. So the action we just had, to recap, we met up with about 300 students that are in solidarity with the CTU teachers here. They marched to City Hall. They made a ring around City Hall, did a silent sit-in for about 40 minutes. The minutes were 1 minute to represent each student in an overcrowded classroom. After that, they got up and chanted. They actually went into City Hall. Quite a good number of them. They held space right in the middle of the corridor there, chanted loudly, held space for about 15-20 minutes. Police did kind of show they didn't know what to do. They formed a weird bike line for some reason. People weren't trying to go anywhere. And then the students left and came out here, and the action is ending. Like I'm hearing, some might be marching to Trump Tower now. Again, there is a protest because Trump is in town for his fundraiser today. This morning, if you missed it, we were out at Locke Elementary School on the northwest side of Chicago, where the CTU president gave a press conference, basically told the press and everybody that they're standing firm. He was there with teachers who represented the higher echelon teachers as far as like pay and none of them are close to the 100,000 mark that Lori Lightfoot and the city is saying this new offer is going to bring to the table. Even with the offer, they're not going to be at 100,000 plus on average. For the teachers, no, that's not actually what the CTU is saying. They're believing that they're adding in like their pensions and their future benefits to say what their salary is, which isn't a fair assessment of what the raise would be. Anyway, it's not even about that anymore. It's about the other issues that are still on the table, like the special education needs we just heard about, class sizes, and some other smaller issues. So we are going to take it down now in just a moment. I'm going to walk over here as we do it. And don't forget, we can only do this because of viewer support like you. We rely on, we don't take ad dollars, we don't have any paywalls, only donations by people who want to support us and help out, keep our media free. So you can help us out right now with our fundraiser. It's just as little as $5 a month. We're going to send you some free Unicorn Riot gifts, stickers, magnet, just to say thank you, and a thank you card. And it really helps us out if you become a sustaining member. If you can't, we still appreciate you watching and sharing our media here. We really, really do. And if you do support us, you're going to be able to help pay it forward to other people who maybe can't pay or just don't want to. So please help us out if you can. We're doing our fundraiser at the end of the year, giving you some free gifts. So this is John Z, your host here today. We've got Lorenzo on camera. Jen is helping out on the back end. And we are going to go down now and stay tuned to UR.Ninja on Twitter. And we will keep you updated. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. If you wanted to, hey, where are you guys? Cards, you can check out. This is live. You can